Whether it's an alpine bivvy or a luxury campground, your sleep system's purpose is to provide the best night under the stars. The foundation of this system is your sleeping pad. Your sleeping pad creates an insulating barrier between you and the cold, hard ground. This maximizes your comfort by minimizing heat loss and saving precious calories through the night. To most accurately measure a pad's insulation, we use a unit of measurement called R value, which indicates the amount of thermal resistance that a material or structure provides. The higher the R value, the more insulation the pad provides and the warmer you will be. The way that we measure a pad's R value is by putting it through a standardized test that we developed with industry members and ASTM International, a group that creates consensus standards for technical materials, products, and systems. The ASTM R value standard creates a uniform testing methodology with a specific machine, which allows campers and backpackers to make accurate comparisons between sleeping pads from various brands that test their pads according to this standard. The ASTM designated R value tester uses 2 plates, one below and one above the pad being tested. The bottom plate stays cold throughout the test, while the top plate uses energy to maintain a specific temperature. At the end of the test, the amount of energy used by the top plate to maintain temperature indicates how much the pad was insulating the top plate from the bottom plate. This data is then used to calculate the sleeping pad's R value. When you're looking for a new sleeping pad, check the packaging to see if the pad's performance has been tested according to the ASTM standard. Since your pad is dealing with extra variables like surface temperature, humidity, compression, ground type, and a multitude of other factors, rating pads insulation with R value is a more scientific measurement than providing a suggested temperature rating. When it comes to choosing the right pad for you, it can be confusing to know exactly what R value will work best for your next camping or backpacking trip, since R value is a measure of thermal resistance, not a temperature rating. However, using our knowledge of the EN ISO sleeping bag standard, extensive field testing, and data from our on-site cold chamber, we have some suggestions to help guide your R value needs. When camping in the shoulder seasons, between warm summers and freezing winters, we recommend bringing a pad with an R value of 2 or higher for your 3-season adventure. Anything lower than 2 will be better suited for milder summer conditions. If you'll be sleeping on snow or out in the cold, our advice is to find a pad with at least an R value of 4 or higher. Finally, a pad with an R value of 6 or higher will be needed if you're camping in the Arctic or extreme cold. If you are camping in colder conditions, you can layer pads for a warmer night at camp. R values are directly additive, so if you layered a pad with a 2 R value with a 2.3 R value pad, the combination would provide a 4.3 R value. An important thing to note on our suggested seasonality chart is the variance zones. While most people will want a pad within our suggested ranges, many campers and backpackers will prefer a higher or lower R value based on their personal preferences or factors due to where they're camping. For example, someone who sleeps warm might not need as high of an R value, whereas someone who sleeps cold at night might prefer a warmer pad than our seasonality chart suggests. These preferences come with experience. So, talking to local guides and outfitters could help you decide on an appropriate R value for a specific region and season. A final consideration about your sleeping pad's R value is your sleeping bag. When your bag was given its EN ISO temperature rating, it was measured with a sleeping pad that had a 4.8 R value. This showcases how important your pad's insulation is during colder conditions. However, since the ground and the air have different thermal properties, a 4.8 R value is more than is needed in certain conditions. At the end of the day, the most important thing is to be cognizant of your pad's R value to ensure that it safely provides the comfort and insulation you need for better nights under the stars. To learn more about R value and our award-winning sleeping pads, head to Therm-a-Rest.com. Performance has been tested. Should I put emphasis on here? I'm not quite sure. It says in there, am I supposed to point, or that's a side thing? To the ASTM standard. Check to see if the pad's performing.
That middle part.
For better nights. I don't know. Between you, the cold hard ground. Head to Therm-a-Rest.com. Gotta pick the right sleeping pad. Yeah. Do you want one more?